Then somewhere down the line, it changes to, how do I heal this? What do I need to fix or heal in myself in order to heal the full context of the issue? And from there, the natural progression becomes, how do I move forward? But eventually, the question becomes, can I trust myself? Not my circumstances, not other people, not certainty, but myself as I am. Because the truth is, many of us have spent years abandoning ourselves without even realizing it. We ignored what we felt. We dismissed what we knew. We stayed longer than we should have stayed. We gave more than we had to give. We accepted less than we deserved. And over that time, it creates something subtle, a fracture in trust. Not trust in the world, but trust in ourselves, because of the countless times we decided to abandon ourselves. Most people think trust is a decision, and I really don't think it is. Not fully, at least. Trust of self is more of a feeling. It's an embodied experience. It's a nervous system experience. It isn't standing in front of your mirror and saying affirmations. It's the quiet moment when your body says, I've got you, and you believe it. It shows up when you honor your boundaries, when you listen when you're tired, when you say no when you mean no, when you say yes when you mean yes, and you stop negotiating with your own truth. Because every time you override yourself, whether it's self-doubt or second-guessing, you teach yourself not to trust yourself. And every time you listen, even in small ways, you strengthen the relationship of self. Trust isn't built through grand gestures, it's built through repeated evidence. So why do we lose self-trust? It's lost through adapting to circumstances. Maybe you learned that other people's needs mattered more. Maybe being agreeable felt safer. Or survival just required you to ignore what you felt. And you became the reliable one. The one that would always do it. The fixer, the peacemaker, the strong one. And somewhere along the line, your own voice became background noise, even to yourself. Because it disappeared. But it didn't disappear fully. It's just because you stopped listening. It's the lack of listening that starts to feel normal. So yes, you don't trust yourself yet because you've spent years overriding yourself. Not intentionally. It wasn't a malicious activity. It just happened often enough that override became the evidence that the body believed. The evidence that your feelings weren't important, or that your intuition couldn't be trusted, or your needs just needed to wait until eventually you became disconnected. So here's something I've noticed, right? Many people think that they're trying to create security. What they're actually doing is just trying to avoid uncertainty. And that's where control enters. Control says, if I predict everything, I'll be okay. If I prepare enough, I'll be okay. If I manage every outcome, I'll be okay. And we all sometimes just fall into one of those buckets. But trust says something different. Trust says, I don't need to know exactly what's coming. I need to know I can meet it where it arrives. I am also comfortable with knowing that if what I've prepared for doesn't happen, I can meet it when it arrives. And that's a completely different kind of power. Controls really just tries to manage the future. Trust strengthens the self. One creates exhaustion, because you're always trying to control outcomes you've got no control over. And the other creates resilience. So, how do we move without certainty? One of the greatest myths in personal growth is that self-trust removes doubt. It doesn't. You still question yourself, you still feel afraid, you still encounter uncertainty. But the difference is you stop treating that uncertainty as danger. You stop needing guarantees and you stop wanting perfect clarity before taking action. Because life doesn't offer certainty, it offers moments, it offers choices, experiences, and self trust allows you to move with courage, right? It isn't the perfection, it isn't the alignment, it isn't not having everything figured out. But it is being able to sit with yourself honestly, to know your strengths, to know your limitations, to know your patterns, to know your wounds, to know what you're okay with and what you're not okay with, and still remain on your own side. That is self-trust. Not because you never make mistakes, but because you stop abandoning yourself when you do. So yes, maybe self-trust isn't believing you'll always get it right. Maybe it's just knowing you'll find your way back when you don't. Maybe self-trust is simply just a decision to stop treating yourself like someone you need to fix and start treating yourself like someone you can rely on. So in closing, beautiful souls, you don't need to know everything will work out. You just need to know you won't abandon yourself if it doesn't.